Okay, so I went on Julia Fox's podcast, and we were talking about the whole thing of paying for the bill. And you did this amazing TikTok where you ask people, do you reach for the purse or not? Like, do you even pretend to reach for the purse? Or do you, like, just wait for the guy, whatever? And so I was bringing it up, and I was like, some comedian girl on TikTok. Well, this comedian girl saw that, and she was like, excuse me, that's me.
So my DMs started to blow up, and people were like, Emily's talking about you. Emily's talking about you. And you and Julia are kind of cultural icons in the girly pop community and beyond. So I immediately was flattered, so honored. And I showed my husband, and he was like, you have to make a video in response. So I was like, I am some comedian girl. But also, like, my whole life I've wanted to be known as a comedian. So it really meant I did something right. As just like that bitch.
Okay. Well, you made it to
that annoying girl.
Bitch.
Yeah. But the fact that then you saw my response video, I didn't really know if she saw, but a couple of my friends saw, and that was enough. They were like, that's really cool that she mentioned you. And there was a rumor that Emily might come to my comedy show.
Yes. This is the first date, really.
This is the first date.
Yeah. Picked out my outfit.
Are we going to make out today?
I think we will, probably by the end of
this is going to get weird. So
everybody's like, whoa, buckle up.
So people have told me that certain people would come to my comedy shows, but they've always been like busy. I just wasn't going to make a big thing out of it in my head. And you stroll in just like so casual with your bestie from like high school, right?
Yes.
And we just start chatty Cathying. And next thing I know, I'm like, some model girl came to my show and she's a vibe. And you stayed for the whole show.
Do people normally leave?
I don't know. You said
like,
if it was a sports game.
Not only did she come, she also stayed.
She supports other women in the arts, we like to say.
I do. I also was loving my beer. Y'all were funny as well, I have to say. You're funny. You're funny, bitch.
It is funny. I noticed she followed me at the end of the show, so I was like, she waited. She liked the content, and she was like, respect.
Well, we were talking about live shows because I was telling you that I have a mental health issue where I think I would be good at stand-up comedy, which is like
it's a sickness.
It's an actual sickness. I am seeking help. But after watching you, I was like having a bad episode because I was like, oh, she made that look so easy and great and natural. We're like, how do we talk about men less? How are you planning on talking about men less?
Well, we have to be honest. Men are such a big part of our lives, and the same extent that we might like hate them, we also love them. They are our biggest predators, but they're also like bring us so much joy. So it's a thin line, and it stresses us the fuck out.
Between love and hate. I was saying this the other day. Someone was like, you clearly like don't hate men. You're out in these streets dating. And I was like, thank you.
You're trying so hard to date women, and no one's letting you.
Any volunteers?
The world doesn't want it. The world doesn't
really
want it.
I'm really trying. I'm like, hello, like where are the girlies at? But it's okay.
I also was thinking, tell me if I'm going too ahead, but like the concept of high-low made me really think about men.
Oh, okay. Wow, she came with a bet.
Girly, I was preparing in the Uber. I was like, who knows what's gonna happen? I was scared.
She has the cards.
I did some research, but I realized like high-low men is such a real thing.
Okay, let's go.
Well, I feel like I've wanted to date guys who maybe are like wealthy or guys who are really successful, family money, and they obviously have their demons. And then you date like the open mic comic who still lives with his parents. They're in Connecticut, so that's a plus. You don't know if it's like a nice neighborhood in Connecticut or not, but anyway, regardless, it's like you learn that what is high, what is low in terms of people, and what you think like quality is on paper is not always what brings you joy.
Snaps, honestly. It's really crazy. I've been thinking about this a lot because like Gen Z, our favorite generation.
I identify as a Gen Z.
I do as well. And that was honestly one of the things I was like, great. So we're the ladies who pretend like we're like those. That's our demographic.
We're like the
we
coolest
were born at the
ants
wrong
in the
time.
room.
It's like 5 years too early. Like it's confusing.
But I feel like Gen Zs really decenter men from their life.
Yeah, they do. But they're always talking about like get the bag girls because like men are never going to give you anything. So you got to just like at least secure the bag, get the dinner, get the blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm out here in my 30s and I'm watching my friends who married for money regret it. Regret it because you know what? First of all, the economy is bad. So these men are losing their money. So the money, you just can't rely on the money.
Those crypto kings, they're shaking.
Crypto kings, but also, honey, even the stock market, like they are shaking in their boots.
My best friend Paige's mom, to give credit, her favorite quote was, "If you marry for money, you will work for the rest of your life."
Oof.
How powerful is that? So just because he's hot and rich does not mean happiness.
So for you, that translated to old.
Yes. I like him tired. I'm with an older, tired man.
Your husband is how much older than you?
So he's 47.
Okay.
So we're like 15 years gap.
Okay, tell us the secrets. We all need a zaddy, I guess.
I always say just go to Walgreens and hang out in the Advil section. Their lower backs are killing them.
I think Amy Schumer does a bit where she's like, they're just so tired. And you get them at the end when they're just so tired.
They literally can't cheat on you.
No,
they can't even get out of bed.
Anything. They're so tired and they're just like, I just really I just want to go to sleep.
When they're not texting you back, they're napping.
Yeah. So
Amy Schumer does have a good bit where you're just like, shh, it's okay. But I do think there's something to be said about in his 30s, he was like really chasing his career and really busy, and he has a great career of comedy in Ireland. And then during COVID we met, and
he slid into your DMs, right?
He slid into my DMs, but I saw him at the Cellar like 5 years previously.
Did you think he was funny?
I thought he was so cute,
Thank
so
God.
Funny.
Imagine if you hadn't.
I know.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be married.
But I remembered that like he lived in Ireland, so I'm like, I'll never marry that man. Right. But guys, don't let manifestations get wrong, because anything can happen. And I saw one of those videos and I was like, I want to be on video. That's all. I just said, I want to be on camera. That's all I manifested. And then I started telling people about it. And someone was like, hey, there's a video production gig. I actually took an unpaid internship at 25. And that's when your friends are like, are you good, girl? But you have a long-term vision. You see something they don't see, and you just have to let it pass you. So I started making like funny tweets and memes and videos for this media company. And it was like a joke writing boot camp and bringing men back into our lives. Unfortunately, I dated a stand-up comedian, and he subconsciously taught me a lot of things.
Subconsciously?
Like, I wasn't wanting to be a stand-up at the time, but it was almost like when I was giving blowjobs, his semen was just like giving me his talent. Sorry, that was dark. That was too much for the corporate crowd.
And permeating your identity permanently.
It was like Space Jam when they took the talent.
You sucked it out of him.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But I just
unexpected turn. I have to be honest. I was ready for you to tell me about your first night at the Cellar or something else, and that's where we went.
Girlies, blowjobs can be fun sometimes.
I'm with you. You can literally suck talent out of men, it turns out. You're hearing it here first. Gen Z, are you listening? Here's a successful 30-year-old comedian.
And as I've gotten like more attention, I realized like, oh, people don't care who you are. They just want the product. And sometimes people just see you as, they're just reflecting and projecting their own experiences onto you.
Wait, you have to explain that a little bit more. Like, what would you say your product is? Because for me, it's like very easy, right? Like commodifying my image and my body as a model. But like you're doing comedy, which does feel so attached to your personality.
I'm a clown. I'm a jester. I do think like sometimes people will see me in the street and, you know, like I'm like, you know, talking to my mom about something, and like they see me and I think they immediately want me to like make them laugh or like do a joke. And like I am actually pretty similar on and off stage. I like to think. But it's funny to see people just, they always want
you're like dance monkey dance.
Yeah, literally it's always like
you're
that.
Like I'm on.
And I want to bring joy to people, but I'll be like picking my nose like at the subway stop, and I'm performing for you, and then there's like the Hannah who's like, I'm just sitting here worrying about, you know, what I could possibly do wrong in my future.
Right. Right. I mean, so what you're saying is it's the comedy. People are like, be funny.
It's a lot of the comedy, and but I mean it's amazing and so cool, but it's interesting how like people do see you as, you know, the product on their FYP, and they don't realize like people are again as multifaceted.
Some comedy girl.
Exactly.
To bring it full circle. But some comedy girl.
You're so right, but it took me so much time to be called a comedian, and it means the world to me.
Yeah.
I also feel like, how are we going to fight the patriarchy if we have to run to Starbucks every time we have to poop? Like, it's just, there's no competition.
Wait, so are we supposed to poop on the street?
No, we have to poop in his apartment, like while he's there, door open, and just stare at him.
So which level are we going to right away? Or
I just want the girls like to not be nervous about things that, like, for example, I don't always shave my legs and stuff, and I feel like, how are we going to compete with dudes who like don't have to worry about that stuff, and we're always worrying about it? Obviously, I do like my legs shaven and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess now I have this voice and girls are listening to me, and I try to think what I would say to the insecure girl growing up who thinks she has to be perfect in so many ways.
No, this podcast has a like very young female listenership, and it's been really interesting because we get people sending in voice notes, and then just like people come up to me on the street in New York and will ask me about like sex and dating in a way that totally nobody would have done that to Rata before. You know what I mean? It was different. And they listened to the podcast, and like we did an episode about sex on the first date, and so many girls were just like, I could never get an orgasm from sex on the first date. And I was like, yes, that is that is
we've
normal, you know, but like nobody talked about that before. It was like, you have to like sex. You have to like, even when the boys aren't delivering, you know? So
or you just
at least
assume all your friends are coming all the time and you just like haven't met the right guy yet.
I have to say, I do have some friends who I'm like, what's going on down there? They're like, well, of course, in the first 5 minutes. And I'm like, who are you? I'm like, what do you do and how? Because what the fuck? No, I'm calling their asses out right now. I'm like, you are a detriment to feminism.
But do you agree with orgasms that like either happens in the first 5 minutes or like 7 business days? Like it's
yeah, I go 7 business days. Yeah. Pretty much as like a huge, that's like the norm.
And some girls I think are more confident and easy with it, where sometimes like, yeah, I need to have like the moon and Jupiter. I need the pillow has to be the perfect temperature.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then if it goes on too long, then you start thinking about, why is it going on so long? It's like a whole.
And then we're faking it.
Yeah. But I just think that it's so important for women. Like the pooping is leading to safer sex, better sex. Like, you know, the conversations about that kind of stuff that are kind of like, haha, funny. Women should be able to be gross. It also leads to like real life protection, which is so important. And I think that's the part of it that like maybe people don't always understand. Like if you're interviewing women on the street about, you know, how many times they faked an orgasm, like you're opening up a conversation that will lead to more fulfilling relationships in general, and like happier children and like a better society. And maybe not everybody sees that right away, but like I think that's the beautiful thing about comedy, and again why I'm going to start doing stand up. No, I'm kidding. I'm seeking help.
Netflix. Sony.
I'm like, Sony, Netflix. I'd like that stand up deal right now.